In this video, we're going to cover everything to do with the care of your heat press blankets and how you need to follow these step-by-step instructions so that you don't make mistakes and you get a perfect press. So let's get into it. So step number one is that we have to make sure that we loosen our blanket as far back as possible. Now that you've loosened your blanket, we now need to switch the press on, switch on the motor so that the roller starts moving, and we need to switch on the element. So we're going to switch the press on, we're going to switch on the rolling and the heating, and we're going to say stop and move it forward. Now that you've switched your machine on and your mat is all the way back, if you see that your mat has gripped and it is rolling, we now need to adjust our tensioning screws all the way back on both sides until this stops moving while the mat is all the way back. So how do we adjust our tensioning arms on both sides in order for this to stop moving? So what we need to do is grab our tool that was supplied and we just need to slide it onto this section here and then either move it up or down to loosen or tighten. In this case, we just need to loosen it. So make sure you just go ahead and keep loosening it. Now that you've done it to one side, you need to do it equally to the other side so that the blanket is straight. Now that we've finished step number one, let's do number two. Now that we have gotten our press where it is, we need to now move those tensioning arms forward again. The reason for that is we need to establish where those tensioning arms is going to be equally the same so that our mat on the front roller bar doesn't get bent or the mat doesn't get twisted to the side, and then you've done permanent damage to your mat and you cannot undo that. So this is why we need to follow these rules and steps pretty well so that you don't have that issue. So what we need to do now is grab our tool again and we're going to go on our one side of the press and we are going to adjust it 2 turns, move over to the other side, adjust it 2 turns and keep doing that process until we can see the mat starts to roll forward. So let's get into it. So this is where you're going to do it. So we're going to go 1, 2, and now we move over to the other side and repeat that process until it starts moving. 1, 2. Now that we've finished step number 2, step number 3 is going to apply mostly to brand new blankets, whereas if you've got a blanket that you've already had for quite a while, then you'll follow the similar instructions, just not the same time period. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we've switched the heating part on our press and we want it to 200 degrees. From there, I need you to wheel your mat forward until it starts becoming a bit tight, and you can actually just feel it. You don't need to see it. There it becomes just a bit tight. Now you're going to leave it. And what we want to do, if it's a first time blanket, you want to run it between 100 to 200 hours first, just so that we can try and flatten that blanket before you start doing actual pressing. Now I know what you're going to say, it's impossible to run for 100 to 200 hours in a day. So you're just going to keep doing this until you've reached that amount of time over a few days and repeat these steps that we've been showing you already. So now all we need to do is make sure that we check every 10 minutes to make sure that the temperature is staying at 200 degrees and it's not fluctuating up and down more than 5 degrees. Then we also need to make sure that we don't have our mat creeping to the left or right. So in order to prevent that from happening without loosening the mat again, we just go to the control panel, we say stop, and you either put it in reverse or put it forward again so that it can go back the direction it came. And that's going to prevent your blanket from twisting. So now remember, until we get to our 200 degrees, right now it's at 75, we need to keep checking that our mat doesn't veer off to the sides and get damaged. So in order to prevent that from happening, we go ahead and we push stop, and then we can either put it in reverse or stop again and put it forward. And that we need to do every 10 minutes to make sure that we get no damage to our mat and so the mat doesn't twist. So that was for first time blanket users. What if you've got a blanket that you've already had for a while and you're only realizing now that you need to follow these steps? So what we need to do is that once you've done your 100 to 200 hours worth of heat press rolling to flatten your blanket. You can then just switch it on as per normal for a normal day's work, and make sure that you run it at the temperature for at least half an hour after it's reached that temperature, so that your blanket absorbs that heat and keeps that heat. Otherwise you'll get fluctuations in temperature, and you get areas of the ink where it's not properly pressed and it looks a bit dull. So make sure that you run your press for at least half an hour at the set temperature that you choose before start pressing anything. Step number 4. We need to keep a log of the amount of hours that you are going to do your first stage of heat pressing, and that's that first 100 to 200 hours. Now you could always pause this and switch off the machine. Obviously read the instructions on your machine, make sure that you conform to the temperature that it's happy with before setting your blanket back. Never leave your blanket forward. Now, once you've finished your 100 to 200 hours and you've logged that time in, it's always good practice to keep that logbook for further future use. So guys, if you follow these step-by-step instructions that we've done, you should end up avoiding mistakes just like this one, where there's lots of ripples throughout the print, and you might also even get smileys or ghosted areas where there's no ink whatsoever. So again, follow these step-by-step instructions. You should avoid all these mistakes. If you've liked this video and you really enjoyed it, go ahead, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell icon so you can get notified on our next video.
AI may eventually take over, but what's for certain is that smart machines are already operating all over the world right now. So stay ahead with AM.CO.za. For 11 years, they've been leader in CNC and printing machines like CNC rotors, large format printers, vinyl cutters, laser cutters, plasma cutters, DTF printers, and many more. Visit am.co.za showrooms in Sunny Rock, Joburg, and Montenegro Gardens, Cape Town, or WhatsApp hi to 060 600 6000 for more info. am.co.za. Achievement matters.